Welcome, everyone. I'm Patricia Dancing Elk Walls, representing the Light Language Conference, May of 2025 in Arvada, Colorado. And I have with me here Ken Lloyd, who's one of our speakers and presenters. And Ken and I have been working together trying to figure out our connection with the Hall of Records and the what is it, Ken?
The Library of Creation.
Library of Creation. I keep wanting to call it the Ascension Library.
Yeah, or I think the other name is the Living Library, right? So there's a couple different names for all of this amazing stuff.
Yeah, but all of the speakers for the Light Language Conference were handpicked. Um, a lot of referrals. We did actually turn down some people, and we invited the best of the best, and Ken is the best of the best. And so
Aw.
we wanted to share him here with you today. So talk to us about how light language has impacted you and how it came about and what you're doing with it and all of those things. We're listening to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you're listening, then here you go. So light language, wow. It is such an integral part of everything I do. And what I mean by that is with all of the healings that I'll do, and I'll get into more of the backstory in a moment and how I got to where I am. But I have thousands and thousands of different light languages that'll pour through my body and express the codes, the information, the knowledge, the connection, if you will, to not only my client in front of me, but for the groups, whether they're in person or virtual. And it is astounding that when I'm in those sessions, there'll be different ones that come through. I think I had 13 different light languages come through on just my my Sunday program. And it's interesting for me to feel those energies, right? And I got to tell you, I had an opportunity to watch one of my replays the other day, and I'm all over the place, right? So light language isn't just what comes out of my mouth. It vibrates my whole body, right? And it's almost as if I'm taking on this energy that's moving through me to provide the healing. Um, Sometimes I'll just start talking in light language just to myself. Other times I'll use light language to provide downloads and coding for myself. But typically it's used to work with every single person I work with. So to answer the question, how did it start, right? You know, it's always in us. It's in all of us, right? But what is the trigger that allows it to begin flowing, right? And for me, it was a silly little 4 or 5 minute audio I found on the internet that says, learn to speak light language, right? And I downloaded this while I was on a high-speed ferry from Fort Myers, Florida to Key West, Florida for the day. And sure enough, I'm sitting there on the ferry with my hand over my mouth, and I'm not able to stop. Right? It's like when it let loose, and it just got more comfortable. And it was interesting in the beginning. It came out of my mouth every time I opened it. I swear, like it just couldn't stop whatever this was happening. And now, of course, it's more controlled. But back then, it was like, oh, it's happening. I was excited and nervous and all of these things. So my what led me up to this point is a little unusual for most folks. And I'll try to condense this down. But I'm what could be described as a soul infusion walk-in. So 2018, I had a near-death experience, which was not typical of the things I've read about near-death experiences. Found myself triggered, angry that day, laying down in bed, trying to relax. My life was very stressful at the time, and my back arched in the air. Okay, stomach up. And I was locked in this position for well over 2 minutes, and I felt these energy coming out of my abdomen. Okay, no spirituality, no religion background, none of this. Just an average guy working. And when it happened, I didn't know it was a near-death experience until it was explained to me later. Okay, because I didn't have the visuals, right? I didn't go through a tunnel. I didn't pop out on the other side and have a conversation, right? At least that I know of. I don't remember what happened in those 2 minutes necessarily. But the way I understand it is that if you can imagine that tunnel opening, but I don't go over. Instead, one walk in came through the tunnel into my energetic body. And I say energetic for a reason versus the physical. So this shifted my life. It got me to the point where I began almost obsessively trying to understand spirituality, trying to understand what it meant to heal yourself. You know, what are all these silly little practices people do? Grounding, my God, what's grounding? So I spent a lot of time learning a lot of those basic foundations, but it wasn't as if I was I wasn't doing this before until that day, and now it became an obsession. Like I couldn't stop Googling and reading, trying to figure this out. So what happened here, guys, is that when the one came over, it modified my physical body to allow more to come in. Okay, when I say more consciousnesses, more souls, past, present, future versions of me, if you will, as well as a bunch of other beautiful things. So when my body finally reached a frequency, 13 more came in. And then this year has been quite amazing in the fact that my higher self and my oversoul stepped into the body. I had I was in Mexico for 6 months. I had nine more step into my body. And right now I have a total of 22. It's still a little different in the idea that they're not just in my energetic body, they are in my physical body. So what happened here in July is they had me do a plant medicine ceremony, which opened up the cells of my body. At the same time, they moved the ego out and they merged into the body. I have 22 souls in my physical body, and they are altering the way I show up to the world. Okay. So they've altered me in such a way that I have a field around me of 580 feet. And as you move into the field, the work that I've done to hold these high frequencies in the body are provided to those in the field. And the same thing over this recording, right? When you're connected, you will start getting your codes, you know, your amplification, whatever these things are, because you're in the field. So it's a little interesting in the idea that I don't have to kind of drop in to channel where it's just always there. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about, you know, light language and how it shows up. And you know, it's when I'm doing my healing. So over the period of the 6 years, they've turned on my ability to heal people almost instantly in many cases because they're shifting the energy so rapidly. And it's like everything I do comes with a set of instructions. So I will see the body, the image, the thing I need to work on, and not like a medical medium. Like I'm not actually able to see like how a doctor might see, but I just see the energy, right? I see the emotion. And not only do I see the energy, the emotion, I'm communicating with it, right? I'm looking at your heart. I'm talking to your heart chakra, your conscious of the heart, who's having a conversation with me. And they have quite the attitude sometimes, right? You know, and the light language is being shared between us to get an example, get your heart to open up. Okay. And when the heart opens up, I'm able to go in there and pull out the trauma that's been so difficult for someone else to pull out. And I do it rather rapidly. But everything I do is this communication. So when I'm in a session and I have an entity show up, it could be an ET, right? It could be something nefarious, whatever these things are. The common denominator, it's light language. And my light language voice and tone presentation shifts and changes for every scenario that I'm dealing with. Now, I don't know what I'm saying, right? In most cases, we have no idea what those symbols or what information is being delivered. Occasionally, I'll get a simple word, protection, or something as it's coming through. But I've learned how to work with it. And the way that I work with it now is I will drop in, I'll quiet myself for 2 seconds, whatever that is, and I'll set the intent on what it is I'm trying to accomplish, right? Am I trying to heal a bone, right? Am I trying to connect with your star family, right? Am I working on something physical in the body, like an emotion, right? Or am I actually talking to your team? Because I go up there and talk to your guides and your team and get permission to do the work. But again, when I set the intention, I just sit back and allow whatever to come out of my mouth, right? So let me pause for a second there to see if I can, generate any questions from you on your side. I feel like I'm rambling on.
No, you're doing exactly what I asked you to do. I had muted myself so that there wouldn't be any kind of
Hmm.
interruptions. But so I know we're focusing on you, but Sheila's also a big part of what you do and what I do and what everybody does. And so I just wanted to mention that Sheila is like the expert for me, the expert on walk-ins, on the walk-in phenomena. And you're working with Sheila, aren't you, on
Yeah,
several things right now?
very, very closely, right? And
Mhm.
so I had spent 7 days with her in September, right? Getting to know her a little more, connecting with her team. We had some activations that came through, some other ETs came down, right? So her team does work closely with mine, and I think they work in a way that's even deeper than my understanding, right? Because she will tell me that some of the words that come through, some of the tones that come through are similar to what her team is also doing. So yeah, she's the go-to person. In fact, if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have stumbled onto the idea of me being a walk-in and I'd still be confused. So,
Yeah, and there's, I mean, there's always more to learn. You actually, for those that don't know, Ken really bailed me out with my last walk-in experience,
mm,
and which turned out to be not in, it wasn't a takeover. I'm going to be real clear about that. Wasn't a takeover. It was a walk-in agreement, but but it wasn't a good match for me. And Ken really helped me to figure that out and to resolve it. And so I just wanted to say Ken has a wide variety of abilities and offerings. It's not just channeling this and channeling that. Um, so what you were talking about sounded like what I've been calling dialects, right?
mm, yes.
The different dialects, the different aspects of the one source language that come through whenever we need them.
Hmm.
You mentioned sometimes there are nefarious beings who come in, and then the light language corresponds to their language,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
so
my voice will drop down. I'll feel it inside of this deep I'm not as an anger, but this deep toning coming out of the center of my chest when there are really dense energy out there. So yeah, I speak in a way that they can interpret and receive and communicate back and forth.
right, and that's that's in alignment with what how the beings explain the language to me. That we're still only transmitting a fragment of the one source language, and we're transmitting whatever fragment of the language is needed at that particular time for that person, place, or thing. So thank you for that. Thank you for that confirmation.
And
Um,
just so you know, I do see the phase beyond light language, and that is literally just pure light, right?
mhm.
So they've been showing me, without digressing here, they've been showing me how to work on people, and they've actually made me sit on my hands and shut my mouth. My team, right? They're like, sit in your hands, don't talk. We want you to do the work without your hands, without your voice. And so they're showing me how to transcend the light language and to literally just embody light itself. So,
Mhm.
there's the language is more important than you actually realize, Ken. There are many different aspects of what's happening with the light language. It's not only going into the person, but it's going into the surroundings of the person. All those little consciousnesses that are hanging around the main consciousness are also receiving their instructions and their codes, if you will. It's never just an individual, it's literally your entire complex of the soul that's receiving the information being provided and delivered. They're all working in harmony to move and shift the energies in the body based on the instructions provided. Okay, so this is how they just come in, which is beautiful.
It's sort of also, I wanted to mention, in alignment with the latest information that the beings gave me, or they, it's a reminder because we've lived all of this, right?
Hmm.
Everything that I receive personally, that I receive, is just a remembrance of what I already know, what I've already experienced. And so um, they were talking to me about, or reminding me, that the one source language originally was telepathic, right? It's
Hmm.
only human beings, because we were created to communicate vocally. It's only human beings that need the vocal transmission of light language. And so that makes sense, right?
Hmm.
They're taking you back to the beginning, back to the original light language, language of light, which is light and frequencies. It's not vocal,
Hmm.
but we as human beings, our egoic, bodies feel as though we have to speak it. And so, the universe, source, creator, was like, okay, speak it. you know,
And I gotta
Have
tell you,
to
that's some
do it.
confirmation on my side because
Yeah,
when I am in the session, I'm not talking to the client, but I'm talking to another consciousness. I will notice there's kind of a blip of light language that takes place first, and then the telepathy happens. So it's almost like we're exchanging a key, or hey, this is how I speak, this is how you speak, and then the telepathy will take place. So that's interesting. I'd wonder how that connection was made with that.
right. Yeah, they always have fun with me, and it was like, you know, we don't speak like language, but humans need to. So there you go. If that's
Yeah.
what you need to do, that's how you have to connect. Then go for that. So, talk to us about your. I've forgotten already. I still call it the Living Library. Sheila and I
Yeah,
were talking about that the other day, the Living Library,
I
and so.
know.
Talk to us about the new work that you're doing, the programs that you're offering, and where you're expanding that into.
So yeah, this is interesting. I just did my first workshop the end of November for the Library of Creation, right? And absolutely blew my mind on the results that these folks were getting. So let me explain. The way Sheila explained it to me is the living library is in a middle astral realm. Okay. And the way I understand it is a record, a library of everything ever created. And it's a place where you go to create. This is the place you can go to create a reality of a healthy body, if you will, and then move into it. It's like a step. It's a tool that allows us to pull on the gift that we don't have access to in this body. So what's happening here is when we're in the library of creation, it is our etheric form that's in there, and we're changing the energy around the etheric form, which comes in the body. So my team likes things fast. Okay. They aren't they don't enjoy doing, and I don't enjoy doing hour or 2 hour long crazy visualizations. Go here, go to this planet, go do this thing, right? My team's like, listen, we're going to put you in a place. We're going to turn off all the sensory input, and we're just going to let you receive. So in the library, I have created rooms. It's a place where we create. And so I'll have a room, as an example, called the room of your childhood memories. Kind of sounds ominous, right? Like, do I really want to go there? But yes, this is where you would go to remove trauma, childhood memories, and childhood behavior. And when I say go to remove, what we're doing is removing the energetic impact, right? The connection that tweaks you. We're not removing your memory. But the beauty of the way the library works, in this room, it's just a white room, open window and a cardboard box. And when you're in the library, you're actually talking to the library, right? Like you would Siri or Google. You're like, library, please show me in this room objects that represent the childhood trauma. And what will show up in these rooms are these trinkets, which have no correlation to the event itself, right? We don't want to trigger someone. And by sending that trinket, love, appreciation, and gratitude for the experience, and we don't mean the experience of the event, but the experience of the attachment, the energetic attachment, you're able to release. And it literally is just moving the object out of the room as you process it. So the library gives the average person a place to do their ancestral trauma, their past lives, their karma, their belief system that's holding them back will show up now. These programming that we have in the body is now showing up. Things that trigger us, we're able to remove those, right? And then you're able to look at the things that are blocking you in the 3D life and remove those. Financial flow as an example. You're able to see these blockages. So the library gives you access to those things that you need to work on, but you're just not sure how to move through it. And it happens so fast. Even in the library, they'll see the shifts happening in the physical body as they move through each of the rooms. So the library creation is pretty awesome so far. And they tell me there's more coming. Let me give you an example. When we go into the room of your past life connections, the way it shows up currently is a room with TV screens. And you'll tell the library, please show me the past lives that are making my shoulder hurt. Okay? And it'll show up, but the TV screens are blurred and fuzzy. See, I don't like stories, right? I just want to get in there and make it happen.
Yeah.
And the TVs, when the room heals and releases it, the TV screens go dark. But what's happening for some clients, they're able to go into the scene and they're able to observe what's happening, right? And actually have the experience of that past life now. So that's starting to take place, right? And even with the ancestors showing up. So, it's interesting. You deal with the Hall of Records, and I deal with the room. I call the room of your records. Okay, similar. And when we go in there, we ask for those contracts, those vows, those such and such that you want to burn. But now they're telling me that as these contracts are in that room, the library, it's a room of your records. This is, you can now go into these records, any of these records, and actually have the experience and have the knowing and begin learning about yourself. So this is coming. I haven't had that experience just yet, but the whole library is expanding to what it's offering as I think I get more comfortable. But to round this off, I didn't think I was going to be able to share or to teach or to give this whatever is inside of me to the world other than just showing up, right? Show up, have your session, and you get your thing. But what's more important is being able to give someone the tool to do it themselves. And now I'm able to do that. I'm able to take them into the library, and the library has access to all of this technology, if you will. So you don't have to learn a new modality. You just have to learn how to ask really good questions. But anyways, it's beautiful allowing someone to do their own work, and that's super cool.
Yeah, I was, every conversation that I have with Sheila, you come up.
Oh, really? And it's all good, I hope.
All good. It's all good. Um, but we were talking about that, the difference between the Hall of Records and the Library of Creation, or and so yeah, we had a good chat about that, and part of it was the difference in what I'm doing with the Hall of Records is it's a it's a self-healing tool, an empowerment tool where I just lead people there and they do the work. And, and at the time that I was talking with her, the conversation was, well, what Ken is working with is bigger than that. It's all of consciousness, right? And that there are different personality types, and one of those is the personality type that they don't want to do their own work, right? They want
Mm,
someone to say, I went in, this is what I did, I fixed it for you, you're good, right? And that works for them because it's really all about belief systems anyway. And if the
mm.
person doesn't believe that it happened, it's not going to happen. And so we were having that conversation about the importance of both offerings. And so I'm excited to hear that you are now taking people and showing them how to do their own work as well, because I believe that we have to reach both groups. And in
Yeah.
my work, there are times when I have to do the work for someone, right? There are times when I have to do that, but I would rather lead someone there and have them do their own work. So I think that we have to be adaptable. So I'm happy to hear that your practice has expanded.
And it'll continue to expand, right, as they bring in more of these tools. And one of the things that they're helping me understand, when I say they, we're always referring to the team of 22 in my body, and they explain it to me like this. I'm not here to heal any one person of every single thing,
Right.
period. When someone has an experience with me and the team, the way they explain it to us, we are delivering you a miracle, and not a miracle in the biblical sense. A miracle in the idea that you just had a positive experience that can't be explained by traditional science. So that. And they said, this is what they call the spark. Okay. And that spark is the holy crap. What just happened? Why do I feel better? So on and so forth. And it begins this process inside of everyone that says, oh, I want to learn more. I want to experience more. I want to begin my own journey. So this is really why the team has such powerful, intense delivery, is because we're like, hey, we're going to shine a light for a little while, right? We're going to work on the thing for a little while. You need to move forward in your own, health, right? Whether it be physical or etherical energy. So yeah, they're not going to heal everything. Show up and they'll do a lot of work, but you're going to find yourself naturally being pulled towards your own version of that.
Yeah. At one point early on, I remember you talking about offering courses in this. Is that still on the table? Are you still considering
I
offering
am.
courses?
I am, and that's what happened. So in November, I offered a program called Heal Your Temple, right? And the idea was to take these folks into, there might have been 10 different places in the Library of Creation to do the different things, right? So we would go into each room, and I'm like, listen, the overarching theme of this 4-week program was, pick a certain thing you need worked on. Again, I like to say my shoulder. Maybe it was a dis-ease, maybe it was something else, but they, for the 4-week program, they're like, okay, this is the thing I'm working on. And when they would go into each room, they would say, show me the ancestors connected to the shoulder, right? Show me the past lives connected to the shoulder. Show me the karma connected to the shoulder. Show me the emotions in every room. And so they would work on that single body part through the entire course. And they were getting their relief. Now, what I didn't realize is I was actually taking a kind of a backdoor role. So my team was teaching me how to teach others, and I had never done this, right? I've never taught anybody anything. It turned out to be my first Library of Creation course. And the emails that I've gotten from those 46 participants are just phenomenal. Like I didn't have any expectations, right? But I had no awareness that just taking them into this place gives them access to the energy, the tools, the thing to do it themselves. So now they're going in there, right? All the time with this next thing, and lo and behold, they are also taking others in there now. Right. So not only did they learn how to do it themselves, but now they're learning how to take others in there. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that. And wow, yeah, I did offer it. And I'll be offering it again probably in March. So be repeating this, a couple times a year.
That's great. Um, you talked about, oh, so is it a practitioner course where people can actually, what I call hang a shingle and charge to help others?
No, it's not a formal modality, right? And I, I I'll probably talk to you offline, right? But when I start
Yeah,
looking at
we
the
need to talk about that
Uh-oh,
off.
oh yeah. When I look at
Yeah.
the complexity of trying to manage a modality, okay, on the business side, I'm not sure if I want to manage that, right? And when I look at my mission, okay, I don't know if me teaching teaching the course is fine, but me having a modality, I don't know if that's in alignment. Me teaching everyone, absolutely, but I have a big belief myself that says, hey, whatever you learn, make it your own. Allow your team to come in and help you tweak things as well. So I don't know about a modality. Like that's a big shift from what I'm trying to do. I need to be in front of millions of people, not necessarily running the courses. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, so yeah, it is a fine line. It is unfortunate that there are, and this is sort of not related, but related to the conference as well. There are people who will experience something one time and then go out and hang a shingle and start using that, and they aren't properly trained. They don't know what they're doing, and they can cause harm. And so I'm very careful when I share with people. There's an introductory course,
Mm,
that teaches people how to go to the Hall of Records for themselves and to do clearing and protections for themselves. But I'm also very careful to tell people this does not license you to go out and hang a shingle and charge people for this service because you have not been properly trained. I mean, you're right. Even for the people that I have trained and certified, I tell them, I want you to make this your own.
mm,
This is the template, right? I
right.
want you to put your flavor onto it, but be sure and tell people that it didn't come from me, because I have had people in the past go out and do work and cause harm and say that I taught them when I didn't.
Uh,
I didn't teach them.
yeah.
So I do want to encourage you to be selective.
Yeah, yeah, we've got a lot of chat to do. I have a gift for the audience when you're ready.
Yes, and I'm ready for that.
Are
So I'm
you?
going to mute myself so you can
Wait,
do
wait,
that.
wait. Are you gonna fall asleep on me?
Not this time.
Just checking. Her team puts her out so she can receive. All right, everybody. I just want you to have this experience and set your expectations aside. And if you're driving, don't close your eyes. For the rest of us, please just close your eyes. I just want to ground you first. So I just want you to visualize tree roots growing out of your heart, moving down your torso, down your legs, further down to those tree roots. Connect to Mother Earth and continue further down till you see the center of the earth and just wrap those beautiful tree roots 3 times counterclockwise. 1, 2, and 3. Pull them snug with love. Now I just want you to visualize a black room. This isn't anything fancy. No objects, no windows. And in this black room, as you focus, you'll begin to see space, outer space, the universe. Vibrant, brilliant. You see things sparkling, you see things moving. And for the next few moments, this is your playground. and allow whatever to happen to happen. Ayala tieni mama po shoko popoko. I a lia a tieni to popioto shia no ma. Ayala lia tati di shia to poko sho shia papa. Ayani no mo popa. Ayani ata pogoto. Eh, ni da ni ji shi ni di ni di ni di ni di shi ni ni da ni di a ni ni ji ni ni ji ni da ga 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 ni di 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 shi du 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 da pa pa ti di da di 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 ku du du ji a pa 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 ko pa ka ti ka ti ka ti ko tu ku tu ku pu ku ti ka ta 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 di 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 shi du ni du mo pa pa a di i de shi di 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 ku tu aya ti sha ti shi ku 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 Yani ama poko ayanati atoko shikumopo to hobo ka mi ani ana ayanolioto. That was the end. You can come out of that. So I'm trying to watch my animation, right? So it's not so crazy on the screen, but
Yeah, so when I listen to the recording, I will go into that space.
oh,
But
gotcha. So you
I
received.
stayed out of the space so I could stay awake.
Nice, nice. Yeah, your team's interesting like that, right? And I gotta tell you, I'm honored that you actually show up for these things because you and I both know how sacred our energy is, how
Mhm.
sacred it is to have somebody energetically touch us, right? Like we have our shields up and our mirrors out, I think you say, right? Or something close to it all the
Shields up,
time.
mirrors out. Yeah,
Shields up, mirrors out. That's your phrase. And
yeah.
you know, and we don't open ourselves up often. So for you to show up like that, I just want to say thank you.
I enjoy it. So I was going to ask you to tell people how to contact you, but I love that your background has your website on it.
Yeah, yeah. And so the events, by the way, the
Mhm.
kenlloydofficial.com events, those are my groups, right? I do them every Wednesday and I will work on different parts of the body. And it's interesting. Literally, it's the same thing we just did in terms of I'm going to take you into that room and just allow you to float away, right? And then we're going to go in and work on different themes of the body as well as different energetically themes as well. So we work on the physical and then we work on the etheric. And so like last night's theme, they brought in starseed discernment, right? For all of us that are receiving from all these other practitioners and these other things, whether it be randomly on YouTube or whatever, they've installed some discernment inside of you, right? To help thwart some of the stuff coming down that probably isn't as healthy as we'd like. Right. So they did that as well as some prosperity activations and such. So each week is something different. And we just show up. And what's been happening is in the chat windows, people will start listing the things that they want the team to work on. Like last night, we worked on the endocrine system, the reproductive system, and the urinary tract system, right? But then I'm working on the muscles, I'm working on these conditions, in the chat room. So everyone gets whatever they do when they show up.
right. um, what I forgot to ask you was, do you have plans for the conference? And I say that because we're channels and I don't do agendas. I can very often say, I've got a feeling that this is what's going to be shared, but the beings have a whole different agenda. So do you have an idea of what you're going to share at the conference?
No, I don't. And, you know, typically I'll write a script up before I do something just so I know I've got enough time and I can do a delivery. But right now, this conference is very, very different, with whatever's happening to me. So on a personal note, I have just completed my 12 month reset, my 1 year reset, which we'll get into watch my other videos, right? But this just completed, and now I'm getting ready to go through a massive shift. Like they're coming in, they're like, you know, you probably shouldn't have retoxed as much as you did because I've been eating bad foods and all these things, right? Because it's going to get bumpy for you. They came through 2 days ago and they're like, listen, get ready. We're shifting again, and now they're coming in stronger. And in fact, I almost trans-channeled the other night, right? So what I am now versus what I'm going to be at the end of May, I believe, correct, is going to be a whole another level of this. I'm excited. And on a personal note, I'll be living blocks from that place probably.
That's nice. Yeah, I think all of the speakers, I mean, we all have our own gifts, our own flavor, and expansion of how we're offering the language of light. And because human beings, well, because energy never stands still, right? We're always expanding, receiving new information. And
Mhm.
I mean, for me personally, I have another trip planned to Egypt in April. And so I will be going to Egypt, receiving more information there and bringing that to the conference. And so I
Yeah.
think not just you and me, probably everyone is going to be bringing a different, a higher vibrational um, awareness and
Mhm.
consciousness, even from what we're offering right now. It is going to be amazing.
It's going to
Having,
be high
yeah,
energy.
yeah, having
I,
11
yeah.
of us there, it's
Yeah,
going to be,
and even for me, this is the first time. I wouldn't say the first time, but this is going to be an opportunity. So I observe everything I do from behind the scenes. And it's going to be interesting to see if this field around me is going to impact those that are ready. Because every single person showing up at that event is ready. They're ready to receive something. So it's just going to be really
right.
interesting for me to watch how these shifts and changes occur, right? From the human perspective. But yeah, no,
Mhm.
I'm totally excited for this. This is one event you don't want to miss.
Yeah, and it's going to impact us too. I mean, we are presenters, but we're also receivers, and so
Yeah.
it's gonna be life altering for everyone that's there. Really,
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the invite. Apparently it's
yeah,
by invitation only, but thank you.
it is. You made the cut.
I made the cut. Yeah. How
So,
beautiful is that?
um, you shared with me that you're going to be traveling a bit. So, are you going to be offering sessions in those locations where you're traveling? Or are you going to be offering in-person sessions?
Yes, sort of. And what I mean by that is I have events now, in-person events, in Fort Collins on the 8th of February. I've got events that are being planned now for LA and San Diego sometime at the end of March. Once the weather breaks up in Eagle Vale area of Colorado, I have in-person events that are now being organized, right? So yes, 2025 is the Beyond Healing Tour, the in-person stuff, right? For me to work on folks. At the end of the day, on the website, you can go and you can get a 30-minute or a 60-minute session. Jesus, don't get the 60-minute session. Don't. We're going to be playing cards and talking about, the weather because things happen so fast,
Yeah,
right? So I really encourage people, listen, move into the groups first. Get your experience. It's cheaper. You're able to get what you need. And then if you need that one-on-one, then create a session. So even in these events I'm doing, I'm not so sure I'm opening myself for the in-person one-on-ones. We'll see because the events are about 2 hours long, and I'm doing three of them a day in each location, right? Different themes. One's physical healing, another one's abundance, and then another one's about emotional heart healing. So three different things in each location. Um, you don't need to see me in person. You can if you like, but just show up.
Yeah.
You're getting exactly what you need, whether it comes out of the eyeball to eyeball meeting or you just being in the audience. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you on behalf of the Light Language Conference organizers. I appreciate you coming in and talking to us and sharing.
Yeah,
And
thank you for inviting me.
yeah, so I look forward to seeing you when you come through Dallas, and also on screen for the for Shanna Tippett's event.
Yeah, that's 25th of January.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, looking forward to that too. Universal Consciousness Expo, correct? Is that the correct name?
right.
I get
It's an on,
confused.
yeah, Universal Consciousness Conference, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's online, so everybody can join from there. And Shanna's one of our speakers. She's taken over the role of vendors at
Mm,
our light language conference, and so she'll be doing an interview with us as well. So it's
fantastic. It's gonna
one
be.
big happy family.
It is too. It is too, right? We really do get along well.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I'm going to close this, but don't leave because you and I were going to talk off
okay,
screen.
thank
Okay.
you. Mhm.
I hope to see all of you at the Light Language Conference in Colorado in May. Get your tickets.